The maker movement, that's a big question. I mean, we could talk forever about just about the maker movement. Um, it's what's come to be known as this global revolution in making a new ways of production, new ways of creating products. Everything from 3D printing, you know, people are 3D printing shoes and clothes and food and houses and all sorts of things to you know, just sharing designs for old things can now be shared across the world. There's been a number of people who are sharing things like prosthetic devices. You know, a father who has, you know, their child needs something and they put a call out on the internet or put out a simple design, and someone in, you know, Singapore fixes it, re-uploads it, someone in Sweden, you know, downloads it, changes it, makes it better. The whole world is sharing these ideas, and um, between these industrial technologies and the ways of sharing them, I think that people are saying there's going to be a second industrial revolution. And I think that's true. I think that we're going to have a complete change in the way we think about making things, shipping things, who can make things, so you don't have to wait for a factory or a big company to make what you want. You can make it yourself. And I'm not just talking about, you know, the Silicon Valley yuppies who have 3D printers, but, you know, farmers in Africa actually have access to a lot of this technology. We don't think that's true, but it actually is true. And they could make soil sensors. They could make things that they need without waiting for the government or a company or a university to come and tell them how to do it. And then they can share their designs and their adaptations with the whole world. And, you know, the thing about the Industrial Revolution, if you look at history, it wasn't just about the technology. It wasn't just about factories and steam engines. It changed how people lived. It changed how people worked. It changed how they thought about themselves, about who was human, about labor, about it changed politics. It changed governments. It changed the entire world. I think this stuff is going to have as much impact. So opening the door for kids and putting them on the edge of this revolution, I think we have to do it. Well, I think that in the face of the world changing, we need kids to be part of this revolution. You know, for a long time, for a lot of times, schools look at kids as objects of change. What are we going to do to them? How are we going to teach them? How are we going to tell them what to do? How are we going to make their learning happen? And kids should be the agents of change. We can be teaching them how to be agents of change, how to be positive agents of change, how to use their voice in positive ways. And if school doesn't do that, there's a vacuum there, and kids will find out how to, you know, use their voice in other ways. So I think it's imperative that we give kids these tools, not only, you know, the 3D printers, but the opportunity to use those tools to say what they want to say, to figure out what they want to be in the world and how they want to share their gifts with the world. And where better than school? You know, we've got to change with all the things that are coming into the world. For a couple of reasons. I think when you isolate something, you do two things. You say that it isn't important to be part of the regular school day, and then you excuse the rest of the school from adapting and adopting these new technologies. I think we need to learn the lessons from history. Look back at the computer lab. Back in the 80s, excited teachers said, wow, this is a fantastic device. I'm going to bring it into my classroom. You know, they would be very excited about it. Their kids would have an amazing experience. And then the school or the district or somebody said, you know, not all teachers are excited about this as you are, so we'll kind of spend a little more money and we'll put them off in a computer lab and you'll be the computer teacher. And then it excused everyone else from learning it. It excused the math and science from changing. Kids like would go visit the computers and do computer every week, every month. And then it marginalized it by pretending, you know, it's weird. It's like, oh, it's so important, we're going to push it off to the side. They can't both be true, right? And so if we don't learn that lesson, we're going to find out, you know, in 3 years, there will be headlines that they oh, we bought 3D printers and nothing changed. Well, yeah, duh. We ca- we've Education never changes by going shopping, right? The shopping's the easy part. We can make nice lists of features and how much RAM the laptop has, and how many how fast the printers will print. But it's not going to change the way teaching is happening in classrooms, the way kids approach the subjects that we're giving them. We have to be open to changing all of those things, and that's the tough part. Well, I think that anytime you can give kids a link to the real world, make them understand that things are relevant, put them in the driver's seat, that is motivating. It's intrinsically motivating because they're the ones that are thinking of these things. They're the ones who are having ideas. And, the fun part of being on the cutting edge is nobody's an expert, right? The teachers who were doing 3D printers and, adding the Internet of Things to the classroom were like, well, I don't know, let's figure it out, which is an incredibly powerful stance for a teacher to model that being a learner who's open to anything. And hey, guess what? It's true. This stuff is all so new. Nobody's an expert. It's a fantastic opportunity. And I think a lot of teachers who are excited by the maker movement are feeling their own professional lives renewed, and they're seeing something that's just so fantastic and so fun. They feel energized, and that can't help but do good things for their classrooms.